Welcome, Ms. Peters, Mr. Wilson. Today we are here to discuss an ongoing situation. So from what I understand, we are here about the fence that borders both your properties. Ms. Peters has recently hired a friend who has been building the fence, and Mr. Wilson had previously agreed to build the fence. However, it has taken him a reasonable amount of time, and so Ms. Peters has since hired another individual and asked to split the costs. So, first and foremost, we are here to come to a resolution. Rudy and I are here to help one another communicate effectively and constructively and find your own solutions. Everything here we discuss is confidential, and Rudy and I will uphold confidentiality under the California Evidence Code. Although I cannot justify your actions outside this room, both parties should understand that breaching confidentiality does have consequences.
Okay, so here are your participation forms. Please sign accordingly. Furthermore, I should inform you that if you are going to take this dispute somewhere else outside, it might have costly consequences. If you take this to court, it can potentially take a toll on your wallet and it could potentially harm your personal records. Furthermore, we expect you both to communicate properly and so we can ensure that the situation is genuinely changed. Everyone feels apprehensive beforehand because this is an unfamiliar situation, but don't worry, everything's going to be fine since we're here to communicate properly. I encourage everyone to express their opinions and just tell us everything you feel. And as we begin, each party will have the chance to speak without being interrupted. Okay, so let's begin.
So I think that Mr. Wilson was taking a long time building the fence, and I didn't think it was a big deal to bring a friend who was able to build the fence in a good amount of time for a fair price. I asked Mr. Wilson if he could pay his part of the bill, and he refused. And instead of being mature about it and talking, he used aggressive behavior and chose to, just be very wild.
So that's how you feel?
Yes.
Okay. So, you came to me, to begin with, asking to build a fence. And I've lived here for 20 years, there's never been a fence right there. But you know what? You wanted a fence, so you came to me. You asked me nicely. I said, you know what? I'll help you build it. Or, I'll build it for you. And I'll supply the materials for it. Now, the pace in which I'm building the fence, in which I supplied the materials for, to help you build, isn't fast enough for you? Oh, that's great, that's great. So you go and get a friend to come help extend or fasten the building of the fence without informing me?
Yes, but if it was for a good price.
But you didn't think that it was necessary to come to me first and ask, oh, Mr. Wilson, do you think it would be okay if I invited a friend to help you build this fence?
I don't see why that would be a problem because you're getting help.
Oh, you don't see why it would be a problem, but you go out and invite another person to help build a fence in which I had already bought materials for to help build. He buys his own materials to help build, and then you're going to give me the bill and say, oh, pay for what he bought? But I was never in agreement or with accordance with this guy. I don't know how much he spent. Who says that I want to pay half of what he got to build the fence? We didn't have a communication about that. We should have had an agreement about paying the fence and paying for it equally. I have no idea what types of materials he had to buy.
Yeah, we also didn't have an agreement on how long it would take to build the fence.
Yeah, so maybe we should have made one before you decided to go get someone else to help build a fence that I graciously offered to build for you. Anything else? Like, oh, that's why we're here. Because you decided to get your fancy lawyers involved.
Yes, I want to have a restraining order.
Yeah, but they don't scare me though, okay? So don't get your hopes up.
Okay, well, we need to communicate a little more effectively, and each person should take their turns in talking. So do you feel like you've expressed everything, all your concerns? Like, Is there anything else that you
Yes, there
feel-
actually is. I don't feel safe in my own home, and I don't think that's okay. You know,
Well,
it's,
why
I'm
don't
also
you feel safe?
well. I also live in the house, and I think I should be safe. And I don't feel safe because Mr. Wilson chooses to yell and be aggressive, and he has in the past physically used aggression by pulling out the fence that the builder was building.
So you're scared. Oh, okay.
Yes, and I also feel like Mr. Wilson is being racist. I feel like he doesn't like me because I'm white.
Oh, but I'm being racist. I'm being racist, but you're scared of me, right?
Sorry, I must interrupt, but for the duration of the mediation, we must wait until she is completely done for you to,
Okay.
jump in.
Yeah, so
Give your
I
opinions.
Got it.
exactly. So I feel like Mr. Wilson's being racist, and I know I'm new to the neighborhood, but I have every right to be there, just as like you have every right to be there. And also, I have noticed Mr. Wilson staring at me through the window at times, and that makes me feel completely safe, and I don't like it at all. Yeah, it's just he uses wild behavior instead of talking to me normally.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Wilson?
Do I have anything to add?
Yes.
Okay. So you're scared of me. I frighten you because I look out the window, I stare at you throughout the window. That's your
Yes, I don't
opinion?
think that's normal.
Oh, you don't think that's normal? Okay, well let me tell you about Miss Wilson. I think Miss Wilson is my wife. And you know what? I love Miss Wilson. And she has lived in this house with me for 20 years. And let me tell you, I don't look at you, sweetie. No, because I don't care to look at you. But let's talk about communication. So you're scared of me because you think that I'm aggressive towards you and you feel that I should just communicate. But did you not feel that it was appropriate to just communicate with me when you went out and got this guy to help build a fence I had no idea about? Without asking me, where was the communication then, Miss Peters? Where was the communication after you got the guy to come help build this fence? And I said I wasn't going to pay the bill, and you still decided to tie in your big-time fancy lawyers who, in fact, he threatened me. Mr. Maxwell, your lawyer, he threatened me. And you want to talk about threat and being afraid.
Well, he did threaten you legally. He is a lawyer.
Okay.
So that's okay, though, for him to threaten me?
Yeah, because it wasn't violent like the way you threatened me.
And how did I threaten you violently?
By yelling and being aggressive towards me.
Being aggressive, but did I physically
In
come
public?
towards you?
Well, you have yelled.
I have yelled,
At
okay.
me,
And have I physically come towards you?
No, you have not physically came towards me.
So what did I say to you that was so violent and so aggressive that has you so afraid that you had to go get a
Well-
lawyer who threatened me?
You would yell at me talking about the fence and physically take out the fence violently. So obviously that would scare people, and I'm sure other people in the neighborhood are scared as well, because that's just not how you act in public.
That's not how you act in public.
Yes.
Mm.
Even though you physically haven't done anything to me, you yelling and using aggressive language is not okay.
But why didn't you just come to me then and say, you know what, I don't appreciate your tone and I do take offense to it and I'm actually quite frightened by it. But instead, you wanted to bring Mr. Maxwell in, who called me specifically. You know what he said to me? Do you want to know what he said to me?
Yes.
He told me that resolve this fence issue and play nice. That he's going to take me to cleaners in court and file a temporary restraining order on me because of hateful words that I used towards you. But how would I know they were so hateful if you didn't come to me and express that they hurt you in that way?
Why would you think I'd feel comfortable coming up to you?
I mean, all I said was that you can't move the damn property line.
You yelled at me, you didn't
Oh,
say it.
okay, but those were the words that I said.
Yeah, but your
And
tone wasn't.
That scared you enough to take this in the matters out of our hands, put it in someone else's hands, and then now you're asking me and you want to come here and talk about communication and why we didn't communicate, but you haven't communicated all along, Miss
Well,
Peters.
since both of us aren't getting along, I figured that another.
Yeah, I
party
see, that's why
would
we're
be-
here, right?
Yes, that's exactly why we're here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so do you both think that, is there anything, what can make this work with you living there? Because you both own homes that live next to each other, and nobody likes this sort of tension. So what is something that you would like to accomplish from this? What do you think? What do you think would be like a reasonable?
Well, I think it would be reasonable for him to pay his fair share for the bill of building the fence. And I also would never like to speak to him or see him again.
Well, that might be difficult because you are neighbors.
Yeah,
You do
So-
live next to each other.
are you done? I want to be respectful of your time.
I'm done.
So you're done, okay. Yeah, I've lived there for 20 years, so her not seeing me ever again, that's gonna be impossible because I'm your next door neighbor. And no, I'm not paying the bill, so you can just forget that because, yeah, no, I don't approve of what this guy bought. I was not there to witness what he bought. I have no idea how much he spent, why he spent that much. I had my own materials. So who gets compensated for the materials that I already bought? I already paid for them. And you want me to now pay for materials that this guy went out and got without my permission or without me being in accordance with? Yeah, no, I'm not paying the bill. Thank you.
Okay, so we've already heard both positions and both points of view. I think it is important that we reassess each of your needs. So let's start with you.
So my needs are that I want the fence to be built.
Well, fence to be built.
And I also want Mr. Wilson to realize that he can't physically and verbally assault people the way he
Okay.
does.
But as he claims, he didn't really assault anyone, any person. The only thing he assaulted was the fence. And-
Correct, but I don't know if it can get there, which is why I have
Right,
a
which is why you want a
restraining
restraining order.
Exactly, because I don't know what can happen
Okay, restraint.
in the future.
And now, Mr. Wilson, what are your needs?
What are my needs?
Your needs.
Okay. Yeah, I want the restraining order dropped.
You want it dropped?
Because let me explain this to you. I'm a 64. I've been on this earth for some time now, and I recently retired from my business on the internet, and I honestly in my free time I like to do things that just keep me entertained, and I honestly just wanted to build the fence because I had nothing else to do, and I thought that it would be fun and entertaining for me to do. And this restraining order and involving the courts, it just can't happen because
It's too much fuss.
yeah, and my daughter back in Kansas, she has these two beautiful grandchildren, and they live in Kansas, and I never get to see them. But I love children, and you see, in the meantime, because I don't have my children here or my grandchildren, I like to volunteer at the Christian schools, and in that I like to read to the children there. You see, and a restraining order like that wouldn't look. They wouldn't want me to read to the children anymore, and I can't have that taken away from me because I really do appreciate and love. I have love for children, and I do miss my grandchildren and Sarah, and it has to be dropped because I have not done anything to you, and I will never come for you or come to you or physically harm you or physically hurt you, and I really appreciate because you're standing here talking about communication still. If you could just come to me, and if something bothers you like that, could you come to me and we can communicate about this?
I would only come to you if you don't use that tone.
Oh,
use a loud
my
tone with
tone.
me.
So going back to needs, you said you want the form dropped.
Yeah, I want the form dropped, and I
You
don't want her lawyer
You
calling
also
me and threatening me.
you also don't want to be involved. You don't want to take this to court because, as we said, or as I said earlier, before we even started the mediation,
Oh,
it can be costly. There can
It
be
could be
consequences.
For both
For
parties.
both parties.
I don't want to take it to
And
court.
we-
You don't
we-
have a chance, sweetie.
We all don't want to be in that
She
situation,
has no case, though.
right? But
But-
we all don't want to be.
Yes,
in
you're
that
right. You're right. I don't want to be in that
I
situation.
don't want to be in the situation.
situation. Okay. What else? What other needs do you have? Just to have them dropped. You also stated earlier that you wanted to be compensated for the materials that you bought.
I mean, no, originally I did buy the materials and we did have an agreement. I said that I would buy them and that I would supply them and I would build them. But I just need it to be known, this guy, whoever he may be that you decided to hire and you're billing me for items and materials that he bought, yeah, I'm not paying for those. I did not buy them. I was not there to help buy them. I'm not paying for them. So that is a need of mine. I'm not. The bill that she put in action towards me will not happen because I'm not paying for it.
Okay. But what about the materials that you bought?
The materials that I did buy?
Yes. What is the end result in that circumstance?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I did buy the materials and I did start building the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, let me explain this. I did start to build the fence and I did build it in accordance to the property line. Yeah, the guy that you hired, he started building the fence 14 inches, a little bit too far off the property line, and it's crossing onto my border. And no, yeah, that's my property. We share, we have a property line. It will not be crossed. You will not gain extra land from this fence. Now, I agreed to build the fence if and only the fence is built on the property line. It cannot go over the property line. And that's me, because I'm not building a fence that's over the property line. That's my property. Especially when there hasn't been a fence there for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's understandable. So there is a fence that is on your part of the property, correct? On your border of property?
Is there a fence
There is,
currently now
yes.
between our properties? No.
Okay, so if we can, would you still consider building the fence?
Oh, no, I want nothing to do with the fence.
Okay.
So, what I read, or what we've heard from both of your needs, is you want the fence to be built.
In a
You
certain amount of time.
don't want the fence to be built at all. Do you care? Because you said you wanted to at least participate or
Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
The fence can be built, I mean, because, I want Miss Peters to feel comfortable, and if the fence is built, maybe she won't feel I'm looking at her through the window, so maybe she'll feel more comfortable about that. So the fence can be built if that will calm your nerves.
Yes, I
No,
think
yeah, I'm not done, sorry. I'm not looking at you, never will look at you, never have looked at you. But the fence can be built for her sake, because I'm just so scared and threatening. But I want nothing to do with it. But I won't build the fence, but I will be there when it's being built. And I will make sure that it's built on the property line and it does not cross.
This is exactly why I think a professional needs to build the fence, because
Oh, a professional
you
needs
have no
to
idea
build
what
the
you're
fence.
doing.
Okay.
So, sorry, I'm gonna have to interrupt both of you. So, what we've seen, or what we've gone over, is the fence will be built, I guess.
I think it's necessary.
Yes, and to have a good neighborhood fence. You wanted to build the fence before any of this happened, before
Yeah, I
any
wanted to
issue
build
happened.
the fence before any of this happened.
Right, right.
I was okay with building the fence, and to be honest, Miss Peters, there was nothing wrong with me building the fence with my work or with anything, but you just claimed the speed was too slow. But my thing is, why are you in such a rush? What is it that you're hiding or that you need a fence for? Miss Wilson, Miss Peters, I'm 64 years old. Now, I'm sorry I can't move as fast as these young folks out here, but I do apologize for that. But to be honest, there was nothing wrong with my craftsmanship in building this fence. And for you to sit there and say that you need a professional to build it insults me. Because at first, you never said anything was wrong with the fence. You didn't say nothing was wrong with the fence. All you said was it was too slow being built. Oh, but now it's too slow being built and it's not being professionally done, and that my work is just not good enough. So my work is not good enough. Why is my work not good enough for you,
Let me
Miss
tell you
Peters?
why it's not good
But I'm
enough.
not done, Miss Peters. Wait. Okay? My work isn't good enough for you. Oh, why isn't my work good enough for you? Is it because you're racist? Because you want to bring up me being racist towards you? I'm a black, very affluent 64-year-old man. Okay? I've lived a lot, I've done a lot, and I've made my money. But is it because I'm black that my work is not good for you? Because you did go out and get somebody who is not African American or is not black. Is he less frightening than me just because he's not black? And is his work better than mine because he's not black, Miss Peters?
That's definitely
Yeah,
not
wait,
the
wait,
case.
wait. Now I'm done. So now you can start.
Okay, that's definitely not the case. I'm not racist. I brought the other man to do this work because he's professional and it was a good price. The reason why I want the fence to be built in a certain amount of time is because I do have tenants. I'm renting out my rooms for extra income because I need the income, and I want the rooms or the people that living in the rooms to have a nice place, a nice fence, and they need their privacy as well.
Okay, so would you consider having someone help you build the fence?
Oh, no. I'm
Instead
not
of doing
building
it,
the
right?
fence anymore.
Okay.
I will not build the fence because my work, she's clearly insulted me and everything that I've done.
Okay.
My work is not good enough for her. But I mean, she's not a racist. So let's put this on record. If she's not a racist, I'm not a racist. So don't insult me and call me a racist. I'm not one. So, and if you're not either, then okay.
So from what I understand is that you want this restraining order to be dropped and she wants the fence to be built. So we need to find somewhere in between. If she could consider dropping the restraining order, and then maybe she could build the fence and we could come into an accordance in some type of agreement with the fence, so that she'll drop the restraining order. You won't have to worry about that. You can visit your grandchildren, you can go to church, and you won't have that on your back. And then also, we can have that fence to where her tenants feel comfortable, and maybe the fence wouldn't be too big of an issue since I understand, you did want one prior, so.
Not that I wanted one, but I did agree that I would help, or that I would build one, if only it is on the property line. And you know what, that might just work, but let's discuss this. The materials that I did buy to build this fence, what happens to those? I did put my own money into
Right.
building this fence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm more than willing to give you the materials for a price. You can have the materials that I bought, but I do feel that because under the agreement that we originally made, we both agreed that it would be okay if I bought the materials to build the fence, and then I would supply them to build them. But because I'm no longer building the fence anymore, that's a waste of these materials that I bought. And I don't want them to go to waste. So I would be willing to give them to you for a price, a discounted cost, of course.
So Wilson, you were saying about offering the professional a discounted price on your materials.
Yes, because, if you're in this business, even though I'm not, but I have some experience, and I do know that you are paying this professional, right? Right? Correct, okay, yeah. So you're paying him, and with that, he has made a said amount that he wants to be compensated for his work. Within that amount, he will take up a portion out of it to buy the materials that he needs to build this fence, right? And that's for any professional, that's for anything that has to be built. So I'm saying, I will sell him my materials that I already bought at a discounted rate so that he can still build the fence, because what's not going to happen? You're saying you don't want to pay for the fence to be built, but in actuality you are paying for it to be built. So to do that, the materials have to be bought, period. And I will be compensated for the materials that I did already spend my money on.
Okay. So what the end result is, you'll be paying for the professional, and the price to pay for that professional will be less than normally because he'll be buying materials
Yes.
from Mr. Wilson.
So we can use this communication that we just agreed on that we like, and he will come to me and we will work out a price.
Okay.
Okay.
And Mr. Wilson will also supervise
Oh
the
yes.
building of the fence.
Oh, I will be there. Every minute, every hour, every second, I will be right there, supervising, not helping, not assisting, just there to watch.
Yes, and hopefully in the future, if other issues do arise, then communication will be key, right?
As long as she agrees to actually communicate and come to me and talk, then yes, communication will work. But if there's no other issue, there's no reason to communicate really, because I have nothing really to say to you.
And hopefully both parties do not, decide to react in
Oh,
overzealous ways.
no, don't worry. Her fence will be built, so I won't be watching you any longer, quote unquote.
So, end result, there won't be, the charges will be dropped, the fence will be built. You will be paying for the professional, so that the fence will be built as the way you want it, or obviously inside the guidelines
Oh, yeah, on the border.
on the property line.
Not over,
Mhm.
yeah.
And you will be so-and-so
Supervising.
compensated
Yeah.
for your, materials, and you will also cooperate and supervise the building.
Mhm.
Yes? Can we all
Yes.
agree on this?
Agreed.
We can agree, but I just want to make one thing known. I did not appreciate you having your lawyers call me and threaten me because you spoke here today about violence and that you felt threatened. Well, I felt threatened also. So you know how it feels to be threatened? Okay, yeah, now I know how it feels too. So we're even, okay? But don't think you can get away with that, 'cause I'm not scared of it. Because your case had no ground. It had no standing. It would not withhold. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah.
Ms. Peterson.
We're done, right? Okay,
Yes, we're done. You may have a good day.
Yeah. Hello, welcome Ms. Peters and Mr. Wilson. Today, we are here to discuss an ongoing situation. From what I understand, we are here about the building of a fence on the property line between both your properties. Ms. Peters has recently hired a friend who has been building the fence, and Mr. Wilson had previously agreed to build the fence. However, it has taken him a reasonable amount of time, and so Ms. Peters has since hired another individual and asked to split the costs. So first and foremost, we are here to come to an agreement. Sabrina and I are here to help one another communicate constructively and find your own solutions. Everything we discuss here is confidential, and Sabrina and I will uphold confidentially under the California Evidence Code. All that is discussed during mediation is confidential, even after mediation is over. Although I cannot justify your actions outside this room, both parties should understand that breaching confidentiality does have consequences. And you are both required to uphold this confidentiality agreement even after mediation is over.
So here are your participation forms, if you guys could please sign each. Furthermore, both parties need to understand that continuing this dispute will have costly consequences. Taking this case into court would do serious damage on your wallets and would potentially harm both of your records. We need both parties' cooperation in order to genuinely want to change the situation. Thank you. Everyone feels apprehensive beforehand because this is a very unfamiliar situation, so don't worry if you feel a little out of place. I encourage everyone to share his or her opinion. As we begin, each party will have a turn to speak without interruption. Let us proceed. Mr. Wilson, if that is all right with you, I would like to express your views and feelings about the situation.
Well, yeah, no, the only problem I have is she decided to go behind my back and get some professional to do the job while I was doing it, from the kindness of my heart. But you decided to just go out and not even tell me about getting a professional and paying for extra materials. And then you expect me to pay for those materials. And I didn't even agree to that. That's my issue.
Okay, well, if the situation would have been handled at a reasonable time, I have new tenants at my house who are paying rent, and we would like a fence in our backyard, and we spoke about it, and it never came up, it never happened. And so I hired somebody to do it for us because I need a fence in my backyard. I have tenants living in my house, and you started acting very aggressive towards me. And ever since then, you've been pulling out the post, and I'm like scared of you. You're scaring me. Like every like attitude that you put towards me is just.
Well, what do you want me to do?
It's
You go behind
aggressive.
my back? Well, no, because you go behind my back and you expect me to pay money for more equipment, more materials, and for a professional that we didn't even decide on.
Well, I also expected you to build the fence.
I was. I was building the fence
I haven't
at
seen
my
you
own
build-
pace. I'm a 64-year-old man. You think I'm going to have the same energy as a 24, 25-year-old male? Like, no.
No, and that's understandable. But maybe if you would just.
Because
maybe put a
I
little bit more effort.
decided that I was going to help out to build this fence and pay for the materials. I don't know why she couldn't just wait. I don't know what's the issue there.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt right here. I just want it to be known that we're going to be respectful of each other in this room, and I would really appreciate it if you let one person speak at a time. So after you're done, then you go, and after you're done, then you go. Okay?
Okay. Okay, well, I have new tenants in my home who are paying rent. And I understand that you've never had a fence, so it's never really been an issue for you, and you've been living here for a long time. I understand that. But I have people living in my home who are used to having a fence, and there needs to be one between our property. And now I started to get, yeah, maybe you are too old, like maybe you're too old to build a fence right now. So that's why I hired somebody who's gonna get it done. And you're using aggressive behavior, you're pulling out the posts, and now you're yelling at me from across the neighborhood, like, or from across my backyard, and now I'm like scared, I can't even approach you, so I feel like we need a restraining order in place.
I feel like we didn't even need a fence in the first place. I've been living there for 20 years. We've never had a fence. And
Right,
just because you have tenants now, you want to create a fence.
yes,
And pay for your own profession.
yes,
And make me pay for it as well.
yes.
Without
I
even
believe
telling
that's
me
fair.
beforehand. I think that's not fair at all.
I think it would have been fair.
Because
if
we're
you-
here to communicate, right?
Right,
Well, you should have just communicated beforehand and none of this would ever happen to me. And then I wouldn't get a call from this so-called Mr. Maxwell, this lawyer, telling me that if I don't play nice, he'll take me to the cleaners and court. Who really is being threatened here? You think I'm threatening you or you're threatening me?
I think that you're being very aggressive, and I think that ever since this situation happened, you just, I can't even approach you, so I needed to talk to my lawyer because I was scared to go over to your house. I can't even talk to you. You're yelling at me from the backyard. I can see you like eyeing me from your room. Like, it's scary. Like, I don't even want to go in my backyard. Of course I want a fence now.
How do you think I'm going to do anything to you? I work at a Christian school. I work with kids. Do you think I'm going to assault you? And I don't look at you from like my house. What? I have windows. What? Am I not allowed to look outside my window?
Well, I can just see you looking at me through your window, and it's scary. You're using a really aggressive behavior. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to anybody being...
You also have no evidence of this claim. You're saying I'm looking at you from the window, but I never look at you. And you don't have evidence to back this up.
Okay, well,
Plus, you have nothing to be scared about. Like, as I said, I work at a Christian school. This is what I do in my free time. I'm a 64-year-old man. I can barely move my hands. I have arthritis in both hands.
Okay, well, just because you work at a Christian school does not mean that you are not aggressive towards your neighbor. And you are. You're very aggressive towards me. I can tell that you don't like me, and it's scary. Like, I feel like I need a restraining order.
Okay. So, Miss Peters, you feel that Mr. Wilson is being very aggressive towards you, and you are frightened by him?
Yes.
And you claim that he watched you through his window?
Yeah.
Yes. So what you want is a fence to be built on the
On the property.
property line? Okay.
But see, here's the issue. That professional who was starting his work with the fence, with the materials that you expect me to pay for, he was going outside of that property line. He was going into more of my land. And see, that's why I had to tear out the fence, because he was doing it wrong and he was going inside of my property, which clearly we had an agreement that, or not even we have an agreement, it's just legally, he's not even supposed to build a fence near my land. or so inside my life.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I understand
That's my issue.
completely. Mr.
And then she expects me to pay for this as well. Like, no, this is just crazy. You think I'm gonna pay for that? No. You're out of your goddamn mind.
Mr. Wilson, did you think to talk to Ms. Peters and discuss that the fence is kind of being built off the property line and that it needs to be pushed back some?
She already
No, he
knows.
yelled-
She already
no, he
knows the
pulled out the
guidelines.
Time out.
No, he didn't think to talk to me about that. He just pulled out the post and started acting like crazy. And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm a woman. Like, I'm gonna get scared of this. And I feel like, you know, because I am like of my ethnicity and I am a white woman, like I feel like you
What
don't
does
like
that
me
have
because
to do
of
with
that.
anything?
I feel like you don't
You're
like me
bringing
because of
race
that.
into this? This has nothing to do with it.
Well, that's how.
What
I
are you
feel.
trying to
That's how I
say?
feel
That I'm
from your
racist?
behavior.
Are you trying to say I'm racist?
I feel like you have been acting towards
How am I
that.
being racist?
That's my impression, and then that's how you're making me feel.
So you think I'm doing all this because you're white and I hate white people? You think that's the case?
No, I think maybe that's the case for the reason that you don't like me.
There's no proof of this.
So,
You can't just say that.
I have a question for the both of you. If the fence were to be built, but it were to be built exactly on the property line and did not go into your property, would that be okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so long as I don't have to build it, because I tried building it, right? And I was doing it with my materials, the ones that I bought, and I was doing it in good faith, and I was trying to build a fence for whatever you wanted, right?
I understand that, but
I'll do it, but
we needed a fence. We didn't need a fence at your leisure. Oh, like
So,
right, but
can I ask,
I'm not gonna work on a fence or do anything. No.
Can I ask Ms. Peters, you feel that he was taking a long time with the fence and that's why you went and hired and contracted an individual professional?
Yes.
Professional to come do this?
We'll see. Why do we need you guys for her to tell us this, right? Like, why couldn't you just tell me this earlier? Then we wouldn't have this issue, right? Does that make any sense? No? I feel like it's sad how you need two mediators to tell me that you...
Okay.
well, we obviously
Well,
can't communicate. You're obviously yelling at me from
Well,
the
of course not.
backyard.
I'm going to stop this
and-
again.
How
I'm
else
going
do
to
you
stop
think...
this again.
How... Well, expect...
Mr.
Wait, I
Wilson.
have to make my point clear. How else do you expect me to react? You're basically almost trying to steal my money and try to, like, use it just to build your
Definitely
own
not.
damn
I'm trying to
fence.
get
Okay,
fence is
okay,
what I'm
wait,
trying to
now I'm going to stop this. And I just want to remind both of you guys that in this room, we will be respectful. And we are here today to come to a resolution. So, regardless of the fact, we need to respect each other and talk to each other with respect. Okay?
Well, it all depends if she wants to cooperate.
I mean,
would
it
like
takes
the fence.
cooperation from both of you. It's up
Because
to
the only
her.
reason why I'm here is because of legal reasons. She's getting a restraining order against me, which can threaten my job. And the only thing I hold dear in my life, ever since Elaine passed away,
And
the only thing I have is this school, and you want to take it away from me just because I'm ripping the fence. Yeah, why can't you just have the tenants pay for the fence? Because like I said, I've been living here for 20 years. I've never needed a fence, and you've been living here for around a year and a half too, and you've never needed a fence until now because she has tenants. So I think the best way is to have the tenants pay for this fence. Because they're the
Okay,
ones that
I
want
feel
it.
like you should contribute as well.
But why? I don't need it.
Okay, well,
And it's going to be around
we
your
need
property.
it. If it's a fence, we need a fence, so.
Ms. Peters, can I ask, you feel that he should contribute to what? The building of the fence or the cost for building the fence or both? Or-
Anything, just contribute.
So you
Like
just want-
you said, like how you had said
Contribution.
prior, that you were going to help.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it anymore because
Okay,
you
you don't
decided
have
to
to do it
threaten me.
anymore. I hired somebody, but you can at least contribute.
How do you want me to contribute? I don't get it. I don't
Okay, well,
understand.
what about the building materials? You can't offer the building materials if
You
you
can
don't,
have
if
them.
you don't want to.
Yeah, you can have the building materials, but you can pay me back. That's for sure. That's fine. You can have the materials.
Okay.
Actually, no. You can just have the materials and just not involve me at all. Just make sure your professional doesn't go over the line, or else we will have a problem.
I think that is fair.
Okay.
Okay,
And I want the restraining order off. I don't want it, I don't want to go off to court.
So,
We don't need to.
so you guys can both agree that Ms. Peters, the fence will be built by the contractor that you hired, but it will be built exactly along the property line and will not go over. The restraining order will be dropped and no further court issue will have to be in place. And Mr. Wilson, you agree to be more approachable and less aggressive towards Ms. Peters?
Yeah, sure.
As long as we have established a communication, correct?
Yeah.
As long as we continue to communicate, we can be non-aggressive, we can get the fence built, and we can get the restraining order dropped.
As long as she informs me that A, B, and C will be done, I have no problem.
And
Does that
I
make
agree to-
sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
makes sense. I agree
Good.
to that.
fine.
So we're both in agreement.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to draft these agreements and I would like for you both to sign them. I want to remind you again that everything that is said in this meeting is confidential. And even after mediation is terminated, you cannot speak about things that were brought up in this meeting. Do we understand?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Can we go now?
1 second, let me just give you these agreements. Okay, can you please sign? And we are all happy, everything, all needs have been met?
Yes.
Okay, so we're done?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming in today, have a nice day.